Have you seen the protein bar aisle at the grocery store lately? It's almost as big as the cereal section. This tells me that people love their protein bars. The problem is that most people have no idea what to look for in a bar. So stay tuned because today I'm going to break down protein bars for you and show you 8 different bars to choose from and when they are best used. First, I have to bust a few myths about bars for you first thing. Myth number 1 is that not all bars are created equal. While I'm going to show you a few bar options today, ultimately, you'll want to know how to distinguish for yourself between a balanced protein bar and one that is a glorified candy bar. Myth number 2. Did you know that even though we have a tendency to call bars protein bars, that not all bars contain a good dose of protein? That's right, navigating the bar aisle can take a little education. And while I point some of these things out today, the best way to do this for yourself is to get the skill of ingredient reading. This is a skill I teach in my Power 5 Jumpstart trainings. I'll include that link below. Let's start looking at the bars now that I've chosen for you when I went to the store the other day. The first one is called GoMacro. So this bar in particular is great for endurance athletes because it contains a higher amount of carbohydrate. So I want to show you guys what I look at when I go to the store and how I assess these things. So a lot of times when we talk about nutrition, we'll say things like, it's good or it's bad. And what I'm really looking for when I'm assessing products is, are they inflammatory or are they not? So this is the first thing that I'm going to look at on here is, of course, the ingredients. And when I look at these, now all the bars that I've chosen today have what I would call quality ingredients. So you don't have to worry about that. That piece has already been taking care of itself. So now we want to look at, what is this bar good for? When should we use this? When should an athlete use this particular bar? So then we look at the carbohydrate in this. There's 36 grams of carbohydrate and 11 grams of protein. So for me, that would be a good pre-workout bar because it's got a fairly good dose of carbohydrate to fuel your athlete for a long training. The GoMacro bar would also be good for your athlete in between that time when practice is over and they get home and eat dinner. So it would be like a great post-workout, what I would call in-between meals snack. Okay, so that's what the macro bar would be good for, is those two things. Next up, I have 3 different bars here. These 3 bars, which I'll go over individually, are good for snacking. So what I mean by that is that not one of these bars contains an adequate amount of protein for your athlete to utilize it for a meal replacement, nor are they good enough for a real true post-workout recovery bar in terms of the protein content. But what they are good for is throughout the day, maybe you could add it to their lunch sack or even just have it in between bigger meals so they have a little something to snack on. So this one in particular is called Paleo Bars, and you can get this at Costco in bulk, and that's why I like these, because they come in bulk. But just keep in mind, all this has is 6 grams of protein in it. That's not a huge chunk of protein for your athlete, especially if you have a big football player who's looking to get in 200 grams of protein in a day. So this one is a good in-between or a small snack. Health Warrior. These come in all different flavors, and we like these bars as far as taste, but keep in mind that these are small also. They're not going to fuel your athlete through a long workout, and they're not going to really provide any amount of protein that your athlete needs. There's only 3 grams of protein in this. So in other words, I like the ingredients of all of these, but there's not quite enough of what's called the macro or bigger nutrients for your athlete to really utilize in terms of their training. So they're not standalone, eat in place of a meal bars. They're add to your meals throughout your day bars. Same with this one. This one is called Caveman. And these taste good because, you know, they're chocolate and nuts. If you like chocolate and you like nuts, you're gonna love this bar. So it tastes good, but again, it's not a huge amount of protein for your athlete. There's only 5 grams in this one in particular. Okay, next up we have these 2 bars. Now you'll find these more at a natural, let me see if I can get them both in there, a natural food store. This one is kind of new. It's called Hungry Buddha Keto Bar. You've probably been hearing a lot about keto. And this one is called Buff Baked Fuel Bar plus MCT. Now what both of these have in common is that they are sweetened with what's called sugar alcohols. Sugar alcohols have a tendency to cause gut disruption, or what you might know as gas or bloating, for those people who are sensitive in the gastrointestinal region. So if that's you, these don't work. What they are good for is reducing the overall sugar load of a bar without having to add things like real sugar or coconut sugar, and you don't have the impact of those added sugars in these two. So what I suggest these two for is for someone who is looking to get a little bit leaner and does not have stomach issues. Now both of them have a fairly decent amount of protein. This one is 12 grams. And this one is 10 grams. So that's good. You want to get 10 or above is what you want to shoot for these types of things. But if it doesn't fit for you, meaning that you can't digest those sugar alcohols, then ditch these. And you'll know because you'll have some gut disruption when you eat them. What's next? We've got this Aloha Bar. Now these were on sale the other day, and these are plant protein bars, which I'm more fond of whey if you can use it. I have a whole video on this, so you can check that out in my other video section. Whey is going to be the best protein in terms of muscle building and muscle recovery. But after that, I like things like collagen or egg white protein, which are still animal proteins. So the plant proteins for me come in a little bit after those, as not being the most highest absorbable form of protein for muscle recovery and muscle development. But this bar, if you are going to go that route, does have a decent amount of protein in it. It's got 14 grams per bar and 24 grams of carbohydrate, which is also a decent amount of carbohydrate. So that means that someone who needs a little bit of energy before a workout could take this bar and probably digest it fairly quickly and be ready for practice, or utilize it after a practice. If you do utilize a bar like this after practice, you still want to eat a full meal about an hour after eating something like this. That would be the full package of post-workout recovery. The final bar that I have for you today is On It Nutrition, and this is their little protein bites bar. So it's just this little mini bar that's good for a snack throughout your day to add to your total protein intake. It's only 7 grams of protein, but it's full of really high quality ingredients. So that's why I like this bar. The other thing that I like about this bar is that it's using grass-fed whey protein. So whereas some of the other forms of protein aren't as digestible or utilizable, the whey protein is going to be more absorbable by the body if you can tolerate milk protein. This is a small bar. It is not a meal replacement bar. So this is a great addition to your FPOD, or fueling plan of the day, where you can insert this into a snack time or something in between, or even along with your lunch if you'd like. It's not a meal replacement bar. So just understand that this is not enough food or sustenance for you to take in before a practice. It's not going to give you enough energy for that. So here you can take a look at this chart that I made with all the different protein bars that I talked about today in it, and it shows you exactly what each bar is good for and when to use it. I hope you enjoyed these bar options and understand a little more about how to choose them. Let us know below what bars your family likes, or if you have any questions about bars that I can answer for you in the comment section below. Also, if you found this video helpful in any way, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.